So,
Yeah.
one thing I'd like to touch on is language.
Yeah.
And going abroad, and folks feel really intimidated when they go internationally, and they're in Paris, or they're in Thailand, or they're in Brazil, and suddenly they have to learn a new language, or at least learn a little bit just to get by, because not everyone speaks English, even though we think they do, and many people around the world do. But what would be some of your suggestions about learning a language, even if it's enough to say hello, goodbye, and where's the bathroom? For folks who are intimidated by language, or aren't really into it but need to know enough just to get by, what would you suggest for those folks?
I think one of the really important things before traveling is to actually learn how the language sounds. So you can find videos on YouTube for free. I mean, let's say you're going to Japan. I'm sure you could just put in YouTube common greetings in Japanese, and you're going to find something, and they'll pronounce it. And just repeat it and have it in the background while you're, doing something in your house. Because, my background with languages is that you have to learn the sounds first before you go into the grammar. Because if you just do grammar and vocabulary and your pronunciation is horrible, well, not only are people not going to understand you, you're going to feel intimidated. So you need to start how we are as babies, where we listen first and then we speak. And so, let's say you are going to be going to Korea and Japan and, Thailand. Before you go, just find on the internet Korean TV and just play some Korean soap opera or something like that, or Japanese movies. So you just start to get used to the sounds of the language. And then when you start learning those common phrases, as you said, you're already going to be kind of used to how the language sounds. And if you've been watching, some Korean soap opera, well, they're probably going to say hello and goodbye several times. And you're going to start recognizing, what it sounds like. And I think it's, sometimes you're on the bus, a really long bus ride somewhere in the country, and you're sitting next to somebody who wants to practice their English. Well, you say, hey, can you help me with the pronunciation of these words? And especially if it's a young person, they'll usually be more than happy to help you. And you might get the whole bus, laughing at you, but that's fine. That's part of the experience. And one of the problems with the phonetic guides that come in the back of guidebooks, like The Lonely Planet or Rough Guides, is that you learn how to pronounce it, but then you don't understand people's responses.
That's true.
Yeah. So you need to understand, if you ask where the bathroom is and the person says down the hall, to the right, up the stairs, and to the right, you want to be able to kind of get that. So, you need to practice it, practice those phrases, and even learn also how to say, can you please show me? So those are really important things. And it is very important to know the basic greetings and also numbers, because you might be in the market trying to haggle for something you want to buy.
Great point.
And that person might not know the numbers in English. So, it's very good sometimes to have like a little calculator, so you can just show the numbers on the calculator. Common numbers are very important. And with languages, try to find, when you're in the country, if you're going to spend a while, try to even find music that you really like in that language. And get the music. If you have an iPod, put on your iPod, or if you have a CD player, whatever, listen to the music. And find the lyrics and have somebody explain to you what the lyrics mean. And as you're singing along, you're not only going to learn, the pronunciation, you're also going to learn some vocabulary. And you'll have something to connect to people about. Because music is the universal language that we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. Speaking of the internet, are there any internet resources that you use yourself when you're planning a trip, or actually in the middle of a trip? Any internet resources that you find extremely helpful that you use all the time?
I often go to the lonelyplanet.com Thorntree. And Thorntree is a place where travelers can rant and rave and find travel partners. And so sometimes I'll look there to see what people have commented about certain places. Or if, for example, you mentioned before, if there's a female traveler who feels intimidated by traveling alone, or even a male traveler, anybody, you can go there and find people who are traveling to a certain destination and see if you can connect with them. So that's a really important one. And also there's TripAdvisor, and where you can also see people's comments on different hotels, restaurants, and places that they've gone to. I really like that. Another thing that is Priceline. if you're traveling in a place where there are no hostels and you may actually have to book a hotel, you might go on Priceline and see if you can use their auction format where you can bid on a hotel to see if you can, get something cheaper than you could find other places.
That's a great point about Priceline, because I know many people who have used it and been able to get 30 to 70% off hotels. So
yeah,
and that's in big cities too. So
yeah,
very much.
Yeah. There's another website that goes well with Priceline. It's called biddingfortravel.com, and you can use it to find out what people have bid on before for flights, hotels, and car rentals. So you can get an idea that, I thought I was going to bid $50, but actually all these people got it for $35, so I'm going to try it for $35.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you've compiled these tips and a lot more in your book. Can you talk about Travel Happy Budget Low?
Sure. So Travel Happy Budget Low is a book with over 200 money-saving tips on free travel, air travel, transportation, frequent flyer miles, housing, food, packing, passports, health, and all sorts of kind of miscellaneous things. And like you, I've traveled a lot. I've traveled to over 50 countries, and people were just always asking me, how do you do it on no money? How do you do it on little money? And I actually kind of got tired of answering all the questions. I thought, I should just write a book and then refer people to the book when they have questions. So that's how I came up with that one. And I wrote it at the same time as another book, Language Music, because I speak 7 languages with perfect or almost perfect accents. And I always got the same question as well. How do you do it? And how do you do it without spending all this money on tutors and expensive language classes abroad? And there I have tips on how to use music, TV, radio, film, and the internet to supplement traditional language classes to learn foreign languages. Because I realized that I became fluent in languages not because I was crunching grammar charts in high school. I was doing other things in addition to it. And a lot of my fluency and my pronunciation came from the media. By listening to music, watching TV, movies, yeah.
Right, yeah. I actually know a few people who have learned English just from watching soap operas and sitcoms. So
yeah.
The concept is very much well documented. So if people want to get your book, your books, or get in touch with you, how would they do that, Susanna?
Sure. So they can buy the books on Amazon or Barnes & Nobles, or they can order them from bookstores. So there's Travel Happy Budget Low and Languages Music. And also they can buy them from my website, and they can just go to languageismusic.com. And both of the books are listed there.
Excellent.
Yes.
Susanna, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and your tips today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love to share these because I really want people to travel and see the world.
Me too. Thanks, Susanna.
Thank you.
This ends another episode of Cheap Travel Radio. Again, I'm your host, Brian Peters, and you can reach me at my blog, where I talk about cheap travel, around the world travel, cruises, any way to save a buck while seeing the rest of the world. You can reach me at my blog at NoDebtWorldTravel.com. That's NoDebtWorldTravel.com, all one word. So I hope to see you there. And until next time, keep traveling, but always remember that you can do it cheaply, affordably, and safely. Thanks again. See you next week.